This is Mark's screencast for the Georgetown Darwin Awards website, group project for April 18th. So, Darwin Awards, as you already know for at this point in the presentation, or if you've read the About page, refer to someone who removes himself from the evolutionary gene pool by doing something really stupid. It's a little crass, and there's a movie about it, but in my mind, Darwin Awards can be applied to anybody doing something that's inadvisable that you would never think would be a good idea to do. And I find that when I read the paper, the New York Times, Washington Post, whatever, I see a lot of people doing really stupid things. So we'll go through the paper and see if we find any stories that should be rewarded with a Darwin Award. So a lot of serious stuff. Head of British spy agency apologizes for its treatment of gays. That sounds like it deserves a Darwin Award of some sorts. Not going to get the best minds if you eliminate an entire minority group from working from you. Just because they're gay doesn't mean that they can't contribute to British national security. That's pretty dumb, in my opinion. Raul Castro urges Cubans to remain alert to U.S. efforts to alter communist system. I know that there's a lot of geostrategic thought that went into President Obama's opening of diplomatic relations with Cuba, but if you thought that just because we opened relations with Cuba that they would suddenly become free in America in the 51st state, you deserve a Darwin Award. Bernie Sanders meets with Pope Francis. I'm not really sure if that one deserves a Darwin Award, but if you think that Pope Francis will win him the election, maybe that's a Darwin Award. There was one article in here the other day about the restoration of a Spanish castle that entirely kind of decimated the look. It was a mortar wall that was slapped on to the castle, so it looked good beforehand, and now it's supported, but it doesn't look very good. So you probably heard about this 272 slaves that Georgetown sold in 1838. Now the New York Times did a big expose about it. So Father and the lady who sold these slaves in 1838 promised to make sure that they stay with their families and that they would have a chance to continue attending Catholic Mass because they used to work on the Jesuits' plantations as slaves in Maryland to support Georgetown College in the early 19th century. But Father and the lady just did not hold up his end of the bargain. The slaves were dispersed and treated very cruelly at the southern plantations at the time. And even though it helped keep Georgetown College afloat, a lot of the debt that the slaves' sale resolved was created by Father and the lady himself. So for all the debt he caused and his solution to his problem by selling the slaves, Father and the lady, I think, deserves a Darwin Award. What else do we got here? Success of Hamilton may have, yeah. So Hamilton, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's this big rap musical on Broadway right now, and people are talking about how because this musical is so popular, featuring Alexander Hamilton, it's politically impossible now to take him off the $10 bill, the U.S. dollar, and so this is kind of hurting feminist activists who have been pushing to put a strong American feminist on American currency, such as Eleanor Roosevelt or Harriet Tubman. So I have a feeling that whoever decided Alexander Hamilton would look good in rap form also would be sympathetic to feminist activists. So if there was any feminist activists involved that wanted a woman on the $10 bill that helped put on Hamilton, they deserve a Darwin Award. So we'll see what the Washington Post has. I think we're going to get more Darwin Awards within the local sections. Usually there's something crazy about Florida pythons or something like that. Somebody getting themselves stuck in a tree. So, this one's good. So this made national news. The mother who consented to allowing her son to be spanked, corporal punishment, was captured on video, and her son was screaming during the time. Although I don't know. From what I understand, he was just spanked, and I think that's a lot different from getting beaten. But I think there's bigger issues in the world than this. Well, we'll see it. Alright, well, maybe it's not so much of a Darwin award. I didn't realize they used an actual paddle, but anybody that thinks it was a good idea to post a video of themselves paddling their kid, that deserves a Darwin award. Let's see. Standardized testing, the way they do it probably is a Darwin award. Donald Trump, does he deserve a Darwin award? Probably. Wyoming GOP probably deserves a Darwin award. So, because everybody knows Ted Cruz won all delegates out there with the convention, and then there was the Colorado convention where he won all the delegates, even though he didn't have the popular vote. And it is well within the GOP's right to have those rules, but when did they think that it wouldn't come back to bite them when social media and the mainstream media would say, how can someone receive the delegates without winning a plurality of the vote? It might be your own private party, but it's going to look bad. It's called optics. How about opinions? Usually there's some pretty strange opinions. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All I know about him is that he was in the movie Airplane. I think that was a good one for him. That's not a Darwin Award. Donald may be green, but he's definitely not, or maybe mean, but he's definitely not green. Yeah, I mean, I think the media deserves a Darwin Award just for all the free press and airtime they've been giving Donald Trump. I think that's probably going to be the biggest Darwin Award of anybody. Alright, that's my screencast. If you want, go watch the movie Darwin Awards, and then you can see how there's certain things people do or the way they act that probably should be recognized with something akin to a Darwin Award.